Hello guys, I'm Super Ron, welcome back to the channel, and this week we're in my Audi RS6 because another year has passed and it's time for its MOT again. I've had the car for nearly 2 years now, so this is actually the second MOT that I've had to put it through, and for the first year I used this as my daily driver. I used it every day, going to work and coming home, using it for school runs, doing the shopping, picking stuff up in the super practical boot in the back. It's just a great all-round car, and it was so refreshing going back to a standard car again, because as you've seen by one of my first videos, before this I had a highly modified Audi S6 which was slammed to the floor on e-back coilovers. It had huge 20-inch wheels, had big Porsche brakes, and there's no doubt it did look absolutely amazing, and I did love that car. But the things that come with modified cars, it used to scrub through tyres and eat brakes like you would not believe. Because it handled so well, I used to thrash it around like a little 2-ton hot hatch here in the countryside on all the windy roads, and I reckon I got through a couple of sets of tyres and brakes every year, which when you're running Michelin Pilot Super Sports in 20-inch, they're not exactly cheap. So it's so refreshing being in a standard car now that things just last. These are the same tyres that I had on it 2 years ago when I bought it, and they were already half worn then, so things just last so much longer on a standard car, so I can't complain about that. But one thing where the S6 did win is I'd converted it to LPG. So although it only did about 12-13 miles per gallon, price of fuel was only 60-70p a litre, so it put it in the benchmark of a normal everyday car, which was fine. So when I got this, this one does about 15-16 miles per gallon, but at the time fuel prices had gone through the roof, and V-Power was up at about £1.50, so to fill this up was about 120 quid, and that lasted about 250 miles, so it was definitely thirsty. Speaking of which, back on the road. So after a year, I thought I might as well get a little run around just for getting to work and back in. So I picked up a little Mark V Golf TDI for 500 quid. It just run out of MOT, but I slapped it in for an MOT and it went straight through, no problems, and straight away, bang, 60 miles per gallon from then on. So it pretty much paid for itself in the first week just on fuel costs. So that does mean that Audi has sat on the driveway quite a bit this year. I've hardly used it. I've just been saving it for posh days out or family adventures, going out for a nice thrash around. So in this year, as RS life goes, we have been pretty trouble-free. You saw in a video I did, we replaced the prop seal because that was weeping a little bit. And last summer I had a little bit of a sticky caliper, but I think that's just from sitting there. We managed to get it freed off, and that's all still no problems. So I think what we'll do now, we'll pop over to the vehicle utopia that is Autoshack and get the car up on the ramp just to give it a quick check over, just to make sure there's no silly problems that it might fail on. I'll check through all the lights, just check the tyres and brakes, just to make sure we're not going to fail on anything silly before we get there. So let's get it up in the air. So thanks to Autoshack for that. That made my life a whole load easier being up in the air, and I'm pleased to report it's got a full clean bill of health. I couldn't really find anything wrong with it at all. The prop seal is still completely dry that we replaced. The rear caliper that was sticky last year, that's still nice and free, and tyres, brakes, all the lights, everything is a-okay. The worst I could find was one of the washer jets was a bit lazy, so I shot that through with an airline. So now we've got all 4 washer jets looking great. So I think all we've got left to do is something which is nearly as important as making sure it's road legal, is making sure it's clean. Because as you saw up on the ramp there, it is absolutely filthy. I love living out here in the countryside, but it is no good for keeping your car clean. So something that's very important before you even go to an MOT is take in a clean car. Not only does all the dirt prove some problems with the reflectiveness of the number plate and the rear lights, but also if you want the MOT tester to get his face up and close to this, check the brakes, tyres and bearings, you've already put him in a bad mood, which is not a good start. So that's the car all spotless and we're all mechanically sound, so I don't think there's anything left apart from let's go in for the test. So we have got a pass with a capital P, all went through no problems. A couple of little advisories. Near side rear, brake pads worn thin, which we knew about that sticky caliper last year, must have took them down a bit. And offside front tyre worn on the inner edge. So like I said, these are the same tyres that were on it when I bought it 2 years ago, so they've done very well, and I think they were on a few years before that. So this year might be the time for new tyres all around on this, and once the brake pads wear down a little bit more, I'll replace both sides altogether. But overall, I think that's a clean bill of health. We've done, it looks like, pretty much bang on 3,000 miles. So as you can tell, it has been set up a bit this year. But I'll file that and I'll pass that as a success. So thank you to Autoshack for letting me use the ramp and just giving it the once over, because there could have been something silly that it would have failed on. And also thank you to F&S Tyre and Service Centre for the MOT. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a bit of an infiller, but I thought I'm going for an MOT and I might as well take you guys along for the little trip and all the little things I need to do. So make sure you give it a like. And if you do want to see more RS6 content, let me know. I'll do my best to break something and then we can film it and fix it all together. Or if you just want to see more outside, let me know down in the comments. But for now, I think I'm going to celebrate. I've got a genuine low collective air freshener, so that will sit up there proudly. Make sure you subscribe, let me know if you want to see more RS6 bits, but until next time, make sure you have fun.